What is up, guys? It's Sky. How you guys been? I thought I'd break my silence and do a post-mortem review of Battlefield 5. If you're new to the channel, I've been playing Battlefield kind of off and on since BF3. I'm mostly interested in piloting the jets and planes, but I also play a lot of infantry. While I haven't been uploading any content on BF5, I have played it a lot. The gameplay is a round of breakthrough on Iwo Jima, flying the Japanese 0A6M2. Please excuse the pleb gameplay, and it's really the only game that I've jumped on in BF5 in a couple weeks. So, I jumped on a round on Solomon Islands to hopefully kind of rotate into Iwo Jima, but half the server emptied out in between rounds. I guess that's kind of the story with BF5. In any event, the gameplay includes a little bit of everything: some dogfighting, farming blueberries, some defense in BF5, the elusive defense, and dodging fleegers. And it's probably the shortest round of breakthrough in history. Man, we got steamrolled, but you know, whatever. People are jumping out of games, quitting games halfway, so. Anyways, Battlefield 5 has been plagued with the roughest life cycle of a mainline Battlefield game. And that's if you don't count Hardline as a mainline entry. And I don't play the beta of that one. I'm basically only going to touch on the infantry and piloting aspects of the game. I don't really tank. And I'm also going to give the perspective of the 1v1 dogfighting community. And I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people that are enjoying Battlefield 5 just fine right now. And I'm one of them actually, and I can jump on the game and enjoy it, if I'm bored. But I'm definitely not going to hardcore play it to try to get better. And I'm sure plenty of you guys are new to Battlefield. Battlefield 5 is your first Battlefield, and you always love your first Battlefield, I guess. So, I'm not knocking that. I really appreciate the 4K graphics. It's a nice tech demo for my Xbox One X. But really, I just wish they would patch 4K into BF4 so I can stop playing this, honestly. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is the worst Battlefield in the series so far. And that's a shame because at launch, I thought I had a lot of potential. I really liked the fast TTK and how lethal the guns felt. And the sniping was probably the easiest it's ever been. There's no scope sway, and there's like no scope in time, so it's easy, but it's fun that way. And DICE really lost me when they started messing with the TTK, and it kind of compounds on the issue that BF5 guns are easy button. They don't have any spread. You just hold R2 or left mouse and pull down for easy kills. It's kind of like with BF1. I think what they meant to do is reach casual gamers, but I wish the TTK was longer. Said nobody ever. So what the fuck, DICE? And it's like, they're really looking at like anecdotal studies of data of the population when they should really just use some common sense. And moreover, Call of Duty has a much faster TTK than Battlefield. And right now, Call of Duty has a much bigger casual population than Battlefield. So, DICE use some common sense. Another thing that really bugs me about the latest iteration of Battlefield is that you can't really get behind shooting not pinging you on the minimap. And that's kind of a personal thing. I don't think I've heard too many people bring this up, but if you don't ping on the minimap, it just leads to camping and further exacerbates the issue of enemy visibility. And I remember Level Cap made a video a while ago about how to fix MMGs, and I was just thinking, man, all you gotta do is make it ping on the minimap when you shoot your gun. Then all the complaints about MMG camping and limited visibility are not an issue. Like, you sit in the corner with a bipod up your MMG and everyone's gonna know where you are. And believe me, bipoded PKP users in BF3 were extremely OP, but nobody was complaining about it because you can't just sit in a corner with it. But I think DICE wanted to appeal to casual gamers with minimap because they introduced it in BF1. But I've never heard casual gamers complaining about the minimap, so that's where I stand on that. And then there's the planes in BF5. There's numerous problems with planes, but one thing that's been an issue since BF4 is And it's only been getting worse since then. The stupid rock, paper, scissors nature of the plane loadouts. It's like, do you actually want to be useful in public, but sitting duck against anyone in a plane with 2 thumbs? Or do you want to be a noob cannon against other planes, but mostly end up flying circles once all the enemy pilots are down? And I wonder what people say if the assault class had useless guns, but it's okay. You can just shoot at tanks. Or if medics had useless guns, but it's okay. You can just revive and hand out health packs. And you see how common sense says that planes and jets should be able to defend themselves as well as perform strafe runs. But unfortunately, DICE has some weird twisted logic, or they just want to cater to the vocal minority on Reddit that hates pilots. And you see how it just kills the game in the end. Nobody wants to play it. A lot of the dogfight community hates leaderboard pilots, quote unquote leaderboard pilots, because you'll never see the best dogfighters on leaderboards. But I'm pretty sure the biggest engagement with BF1 was during the trench fighter days, when it was guaranteed you go like 50-0 in Conquest or 100-0 in Operations with little effort. And of course, balance is key in an online shooter, but BF3 had this perfect, and it's only been getting worse and worse ever since. So, BF5 is the first mainline Battlefield game to not have a dogfighting community. Let's compare BF5 to the entry in the series where the dogfighting community thrived the most, BF4. Well, BF4 pretty much had a non-busted air superiority mode, pretty much at launch, as well as a rental server program, and it had a great map for 1v1 dogfights, Silk Road. And even if you look at BF1, it still has dogfight servers to this day, and that's due to the really robust rental server program, and it really helped extend the life of those games. People are still pumping money into rental server programs in BF3, BF4, and BF1. So, I don't know why DICE really did not have any sort of rental server program in BF5. And it's like, it's really as if they're discouraging the forming of a dogfight community in BF5. And that's a shame. Because I still play BF4, and I spend 90% of my time on BF4 in dogfight servers. Having a balanced and fun dogfighting in your game is only good for it. So that leads me to the plane physics in BF5, and my feelings on plane physics in BF5 are mixed. On one hand, most of the BF1 and BF4 dogfight community can't be bothered with the new physics. But most of the BF4 dogfighting community said the same thing about BF1, yet a whole new dogfighting community developed in BF1. Which to me shows that it's not really the physics that's holding back BF5, it's the lack of a rental server program. And I was extremely excited when DICE announced that the practice range was going to be multiplayer, but then I was just as disappointed to find out that you can only use a stripped down Spitfire VB. A practice range where you can use any loadout would have been a great start, but it's nothing compared to a real robust rental server program where you can restrict loadouts and set rules like friendly fire and no spotting. And there's really nothing more enjoyable for me than jumping on a dogfight server with the possibility that the best dogfighter in the community might be in there with me. And I personally don't care either way about the physics. I kind of lump BF1 and BF5 together as far as dogfighting is concerned. Speed control was the best mechanic for Battlefield dogfighting because it creates an additional skill gap, and also prevents excessive braking. Just like the infantry play, additional skill gaps are good. It motivates people to keep playing. And a lot of BF1 pilots hate it, but if you compare, say, Counter-Strike to Call of Duty, it's obvious which is more skillful and which game has more longevity. And they're both arcade-style shooters, but the AK recoil pattern in Counter-Strike adds an additional skill gap. I think DICE has some misconceptions about people, and it's the same misconceptions that liberals and SJWs have nowadays, and I really hate it. Most people don't desire to get participation trophies and have stuff made easy for them. Maybe they do and to some regard on the short term, but at the end of the day, people get bored of things that don't have depth very quickly. But regardless of all this, I honestly don't think the playing physics is what hurt BF5, and rather just the lack of rental servers. BF1 didn't have speed control, but it had a pretty big dogfight community, and again, rental servers. And I guess the reviews have been kind of negative, but it's my video, so it is what it is, I suppose. The last letdown for me in Battlefield 5 was a letdown in the tech department. Again, the pinnacle was BF3, and although BF3 is dated at this point, at the time the visuals and sound design was well ahead of its time. And BF4 felt like a progression from that, and again, BF1 was a step above BF4. BF5 is not a clear step above BF1. And if you're playing on Xbox One X, there's numerous instances of very low quality textures that seem like they were optimized for 1080p. Ray tracing on PC seems like a gimmick, much like PhysX was back in the day. The problem this day and age is that the PS4 is essentially the lead development platform, and any upgrades on PC or Xbox One X are merely ancillary. I think BF5 could have done with like a 30 FPS mode or something where the graphics were notably stepped up. I mean, I didn't mind BF3 being 30 FPS, and it looked well ahead of its time on consoles. And you can have a 60 FPS mode for people that care about that kind of stuff. That's just what I think. So yeah, that's my perspective on BF5. At this point, there's really nothing making me want to play BF5 over BF3 or BF4. I'll probably live stream it here and there, but I can't make any promises about streaming or uploading videos nowadays because of my work schedule. Hope you guys are staying safe and enjoying BF5 or whatever game you're playing nowadays. Let me know what you think of BF5 or anything else in general in the comments. And enjoy the rest of the gameplay, and I'll catch you guys later.
They have reached the final objective.